Hello and welcome back to Batch Reviews. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm in Frankfurt driving the brand new Mercedes-Benz EQE. Now this is going to be a little bit different from my usual videos. It's not going to be an in-depth review. This is going to be a little taster, a little preview, because I haven't got a huge amount of time with this car, but I knew that you would want to find out all there is to know about this brand new all-electric Mercedes-Benz. During the course of the video, if you've got any questions, please do drop them in the comments box below and I'll do my best to answer those. If you get to the end of the video and you really like it, give it a little thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel for much more content like this. Right then, welcome to Frankfurt. We're just heading out into the country roads now. Got a bit of a limited time with this car. Landed this morning, just been given the keys to the car, taking out on a test drive now and then flying back tomorrow morning. So I haven't got a huge amount of time with the new EQE, but I have got enough time to give you some early impressions and just sort of show you around this car, really. Mercedes has really been on a bit of a product blitz when it comes to electric cars. Their first, well, you could say their first pure electric car was the B-Class way back in 2014 or so. But their proper sort of product rollout started with the EQC SUV back in 2019, I think it was. And then since then we've had the EQA, the EQB. But most importantly of all, there's the EQS, and this, the EQE. Why is that so important? Well, the earlier models, particularly the EQC, that car is based on a petrol car. It uses the same platform as the Mercedes-Benz C-Class. The EQA is very heavily related to the Mercedes GLA, the EQB, again with the GLB. So the EQS and the EQE use Mercedes' brand new electric car architecture. The EQS was the first car to arrive. That arrived last year, and that very much sits right at the top of the range. Much like the S-Class does at the moment, the EQS is Mercedes' electric halo car. This car, the EQE, is going to be the volume car, the car they're going to sell the most of, so it's got to be good. Now, where does it sit in the marketplace? Well, I suppose it's a bit of a difficult question to answer, really, because there's so many electric cars being launched at the moment. What we used to consider the typical hierarchy when it comes to cars, petrol engine cars, is being sort of thrown up in the air with electric cars. So prices for this start at £76,500. It sort of goes up against the BMW i4, some Tesla Model 3s, Tesla Model S as well. Like I say, there isn't sort of a direct rival for this car. It just sits in a particular pricing point and a range point as well, pure electric range. I'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later on. So EQE, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to work out that this is sort of the equivalent of a pure electric E-Class. The exterior dimensions are equivalent to a Mercedes CLS. The interior space, there's more of it than a Mercedes E-Class. So it sits in that sort of mid-size executive car class.
In the UK, there's just one EQE for the time being, the 350 Plus. It has a 90 kilowatt-hour battery and a 282 brake horsepower electric motor powering the rear wheels, and it offers a good blend of punch and efficiency, with 0 to 62 miles an hour taking 6.4 seconds. Top whack is 130 miles an hour. Depending on trim and wheel size, the EQE 350 Plus is claimed to achieve anywhere between 356 and 394 miles on a full charge. A realistic real-world expectation would be between 320 and 360 miles. It gets a 22 kilowatt onboard charger, and it can accept a boost for a rapid charger up to 170 kilowatts. That's not as rapid as some EVs, but it's quick enough to give a 10 to 80% charge in about 30 minutes.
Now, for this EVA2 electric car architecture, Mercedes has fitted 4-link suspension up front and a multi-link suspension at the back. It's very similar to the suspension system you find on the S-Class. But you can go for air suspension should you wish. This car has got the air suspension, and my goodness me, it is unbelievably comfortable. We've got pretty large wheels on this car. I think they're 19s, they're definitely no more than 20 inches. Now, I'm driving on some pretty rough roads here outside of Frankfurt, and this car's just making light of these roads, which does bode well for the UK. This car's also got rear wheel steering. It improves the turning circle in the city, of course, but on faster flowing roads like this, the rear wheels turn in the same direction as the front, so just improving agility and cornering ability, really. One thing that I do find impressive is the steering in this car. I was expecting this car to be quite comfortable and relaxed and quite sort of casual about the way it goes down the road. Whilst the suspension certainly is that way inclined, the steering certainly isn't. It's very sharp. Very responsive, and it gives this car quite a sporting feel to it, actually. Now, 290 odd horsepower, 0 to 62 takes 6.5 seconds. In this day and age, it doesn't sound that impressive, does it? But this car, I mean, let's try it, shall we? Let's just pull the car to a halt. There we are, and let's go. Yeah, not neck snapping fast, but more than quick enough, and it feels a lot quicker than 6.5 seconds to 60, that's for sure. Surprisingly sporty steering and very comfortable suspension are all very impressive, but that's not the most impressive thing about the EQE. What it is how quiet this car is. Now, I drive lots of electric cars, but this is by far and away the hushest, most silent EV I have ever driven. In fact, I can whisper and you can still hear me, can't you? Now, obviously, you can hear the tyres. We've got pretty large wheels in this car, so there is a bit of noise kicked up from the tyres. But you can barely hear the electric motor. You normally hear that characteristic electric car whine, and yet in this, you really don't. The way this car goes down the road feels like a car that costs in excess of £100,000, not 76 grand. So impressive. Let's take a brief look around this interior, because unsurprisingly, it is very special. I mean, it is very similar to the EQS. It is very tech heavy in here, but it also feels very plush and very luxurious, and exactly how a modern Mercedes-Benz should look. Now, this car is German spec, unsurprisingly, but it is equivalent to an AMG line in the UK, and that's the basic spec that we find in the UK. So we get these Artico sort of leather seats with this microfiber material here, and you get this limewood open pore wood. Other models, there's a different variety of trim and textures. The top spec model even gets, which is called exclusive luxury, even gets, and I'm not making this up, ship's deck open pore wood. It looks very nice indeed, actually. But here, like I say, it is equivalent to AMG line. You get this ambient lighting that goes all the way around the top of the dash and into the doors on the little armrest there. 64 different colours that you can choose from. As standard, you get twin screens in the UK. So you get this 12.3 digital cockpit, and of course you can change and personalize all of that. And then in the center, you get this 12.8 inch screen. Now I really like this screen because it's large enough for you to use it simply and easily on the road, on the move, but it's not too overpowering for it to be distracting. Although I've only driven this car in the daylight. What it'd be like at night, I'll have to report back. But anyway, now I'm not going to give you a deep dive of this infotainment system because really that warrants a separate video, but I'm just going to give you a couple of the highlights. You've got your favorites. You can choose, you can select all of your different favorites and functions which you think you're going to be using frequently. The home button, there's all your different apps and functions. Of course, you've got your climate control. You've got your dynamic select here. You've got your on, off and volume controls here. Press EQ and you can see your current battery status. You can choose the battery temperature optimization and all the different features to do with charging. Select that there for consumption and then range. And yeah, there is a whole heap of information regarding the car's electric systems. And this is quite nice. This little fingerprint recognition button here, it allows two different, you can scan two different fingerprints, so two users can have their own personalised settings, and that includes the seat settings, your commutes, and also your payment settings. Elsewhere, you get this very modern looking steering wheel. Of course, you can control the central touchscreen with these as well, and you control the screen with these buttons as well. We've got the Burmester stereo option in this car, and the build quality is just as you'd expect. It is absolutely exquisite in here. Plenty of space as well. Fold this back, you've got your cup holders which do this neat little action. I really like that. And under here we've got loads of storage. At the moment we've got another phone strapped to this bit of elastic, but there is loads of space under there, including some charging ports. And then talking about storage, you can flip this up and there's even more of it down there and some more charging ports as well. You will be aware on the EQS you can have something called the hyperscreen, which is the entire dashboard is a screen. It's an £8,000 option on the EQS. Mercedes are being a little bit tight-lipped about the EQE. They're saying that it doesn't come on the EQE, but I would imagine it will be available at some point in the UK, probably a little bit further down the line on a more powerful or more exclusive model. Now, I love these systems in Mercedes. It's this augmented reality sat-nav, and it's really great around congested city streets, because when you've got a million different turnings, when you've got these arrows telling you exactly where to go, it can be very, very helpful. Now, unsurprisingly, this car is absolutely festooned with safety equipment. In actual fact, I think the only safer place than an EQE would be to stay in bed. And one of the things that's really great about this car, we first saw it in the Mercedes-Benz A-Class, is that it has a voice recognition system that actually works. So, hey Mercedes.
How may I help you?
Turn climate control on.
I have activated the air conditioning.
Hey Mercedes.
How may I help you?
Tell me a joke.
Why is 6 afraid of 7? Because 7 ain't 9.
Ha 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 ha! Absolutely hilarious.
What do I think then about this new EQE after a short drive? While there's a clear difference between the executive E-Class and the luxury S-Class, the gap between the EQE and the EQS is much, much smaller. Mercedes has very cleverly managed to distill a lot of the range-topping EQS's style, pomp and pampering into a smaller package, and it has really pulled it off. Until Audi launches its direct rival for the EQE, the A6 e-tron, and BMW reveals its i5, the EQE is right at the top of the tree of the electric executive car class.